welcome back to Parbreakers Golf Academy. I'm Bernard Sheridan, and today we're going to take a look at a face-on view of the #1 player in the world, Adam Scott. And this is a wedge shot, and what we're going to see is some things that you can use in your game to help you be a lot more accurate. So at address, I have a green line right on Adam's head, and I want you to know that here he's you can see notice his ball position, and there's a few other things that I want you to notice about his setup. So ball position is centered, and essentially if I draw a few of our lines up here, he's in a very neutral setup. Where his ankles are kind of like right on his shoulders there. Back foot is a little bit behind because that line is just slightly tilted right now. So let's get rid of that line and get that line a little bit straighter. We'll put one line here. It's pretty straight. Put the other line here. Back foot. Right at that shoulder area. Okay, so neutral stance. We'll go back to our headline. It's showing right where the front of the ball is and right where Adam's head is. Now, there's a lot of things that I want you to notice here, but one is head stays very, very steady, and as Adam turns away, his hands are not out racing his core. Okay, his hands, he's maintaining that Y that we always talk about, and his left hand is right in front of his core as he moves to the top. Notice too how there was no swaying going on at all between those white lines with Adam's hips. Very steady. Now, as he starts to move towards the ball on the downswing, we see that as he clears that left hip, it has an appearance that there is a lateral slide. But what is really happening is as he clears that left hip, it begins to stack right over top of that left foot so that everything is right in a row as his hips get square. Now, there's a few things that I really want you to notice about his hands here. He's creating a tremendous amount of lag. The shaft is vertical in relationship to his left arm. And the back of his left wrist is as flat as can be here. Okay? And as he starts to move down, that left wrist continues to stay flat. Right now, the butt of the club is pointing right at the ball. And as he begins to rotate in and clear that hip tremendously, that left wrist is still flat. And here we are at impact, and that left wrist is still flat. So if we really notice here, let's get rid of some of these lines. We'll undo that one so we can see this a little bit better. And right there at impact, we're definitely seeing a forward shaft tilt. And we are seeing that his head remains steady. And we are seeing that now that white line is running right through kind of where his belt loop would be, because he's rotated his hips out of the way, and then the club begins to catch up. He still has not fully released his right arm now until this point right here. Right there is where he fully releases that right arm. And then notice how his rotation of his body and the rotation of his head moves along with his body so he can fully release and get over that left leg. Now he's hanging back just a little bit because it's a wedge shot. So we're always going to see a little bit of a arch in his back at the finish of a wedge shot for Adam. But I want you to notice too that if we get this just a little bit smaller, I want you to notice how his shoulders are very, very level at this finish and in a great position. So let's go back and review some of the things that you can do. One is that left wrist is flat at address. There's a slight forward shaft lean at address. And as we've talked about, if you take a look at the pre-shot routine, if we were to draw a line right up that, which we just did, it's going to intersect with that belt loop that's just left of the belt buckle at address. Good shoulder rotation away. Left wrist still continues to stay flat, just like at address. Rotation to the top, back at impact. Lots of lag coming on and impact. Flat left wrist. Notice how much further the hands have moved and how much the body is rotated. So really what we look at here is that green line is pointing right where his logo is on his shirt, right at his heart, okay, at address. Watch where that green line points at impact, right at his sternum, okay. So sometimes we think that there's not a lot of motion going towards the target at impact because the head looks like it's staying so incredibly steady, okay. And the head has stayed steady. If I were to put a circle around that head, go back to address, that head does start to move forward as he makes impact. That's why that sternum has moved to where that green line is pointing now, because the sternum has moved forward also. Okay, so here's a good thought process for the most of you who are out there, and that is, if you can get your sternum to move laterally in front of the ball at impact, that is where the club is going to bottom out. Okay, and if your sternum holds back, you're going to be hitting fat shots. That's due to your head holding back, or as a lot of people will say, keep your head down, keep your head down. So we can definitely see that at the top here, when Adam's at the very top, as he starts down, his head starts to move forward, and then his head remains steady, but that sternum, that upper body, rotates towards the target, so that you can get that bottom of the swing arc happening after the ball. How far ahead of the ball is it? Well, for 99% of the tour pros out there, it's 4 inches in front of the ball is where the bottom of the swing arc happens. So these are some things that you can do, and continue to keep that left wrist flat after impact, and keep the body rotating, the hands in front of you. Okay? Maintaining that Y all the way to a full finish. So for Par Breakers Golf Academy, we congratulate Adam Scott on his latest win, 2014, as the #1 player in the world, and we wish him all the success that his swing can bring him. So until next time, I'm Bernard Sheridan for Par Breakers Golf Academy. Just a quick one. Members exclusive video tutorial site on its way at parbreakers.com. Try to keep it in the short grass. I'll see you next time.